Hey there, Perennial Pride listeners. Thanks for joining me on this podcast. So today I'm solo, and as I was reflecting on some things this week, I thought I'd jump on and start this episode on something that actually relates to your health. Right? We're always taught that we're supposed to drink a certain amount of water, whatever, 7-8 glasses a day to cleanse our body, keep our fluid. Obviously, there's a lot of water in our systems, and it helps us stay clean, right, and healthy. And it's something that I strive to do personally. I don't always get there every day, but it is something that I'm mindful of, the need to cleanse my body, right, for my own health. And so it's something that we can relate to in other areas in our lives, certainly in our headspace, right? We have these people that are talking in our head sometimes, telling us things, whether they're true or not. And just for us to sort of wrestle with is, we've got a lot of headspace around anything in life, whether it be our careers, our futures, worrying about our kids, our personal sort of achievements. And unfortunately, there's sometimes these negative thoughts that can sort of pervade our world and keep on peppering us with thoughts that just really can shape the way we think and how we behave, whether we can achieve things in our lives or not. And it's really important, as I thought of that analogy, is the importance of actually filling and cleaning our brain space, right? Filling it with clean, fresh water frequently to help us stay straight and focused on what we're trying to achieve, right? Because, and it isn't just positive thoughts and gratitude, they certainly help, but to take a look at the realities of life and what's happening so you can think logically around what to do with it. I started a sort of morning practice myself, and it is really stuck. Is the first thing I do and wake up is just to get silent for a minute and just breathe in and out, and just to stay calm. I think that's really helps me stay grounded. But I think the thing I've added more recently is just to share some really positive affirmations in life around what's happening and be grateful for the things in my life, because it's so easy to forget those things as we're so pressured on what's next. What are we trying to achieve? What do I have on my to-do list? And those things can really cloud your mind and keep you almost in a stressful mode and almost in a suffering mode. And so having that moment of understanding that today is a new day, and we are not guaranteed tomorrow, we know this, but to recognize and appreciate what we have in that day and use it to give us some strength and power and recognize what's happening. And in that sort of analogy of cleansing, it's a cleansing exercise to cleanse your mind and get your head straight on what the day will bring, and hopefully bring you success. And these are things that you have to do repeatedly, because those negative thoughts can creep in. You don't have to go that far to listen to negative news and especially you think about finances, like the economy is going to blow up, recession's coming, jobs are going to be lost. I mean, you name it. You don't have to look that far to find things that are going to push you in the other direction and cause you to spiral. And it happens all over the place, right? And I'm guilty of it too. This is why I sort of stress it to you that I always fight these things too. I got to stay straight on this stuff and provide some cleansing and positivity in my life to recognize what's there. Because I think regardless of where you are in your life, there's got to be things that are good and positive, even if it's having the ability to have clean water, right? That's not something that everyone in this world has at their disposal. And so even those simplistic things in life, I really think are important, and it really helps to refresh and keep all the negativity as much as possible in the back burner. And they're going to creep up regardless, right? It's just part of life, and it's just how we manage it is really the key. And so that cleansing mechanism, however you do that through a routine, through your life, whether it's at night or even at nighttime too, is to consider that and sort of experiment and see how that could really help, keep you motivated, keep you positive, and certainly keeping your head on straight so you can think logically about things and what's happening and figure out paths forward. I think that's where a lot of people can get stuck, right? They get so wrapped up in these negative thoughts, they can't even move forward. They don't even know how to step forward. And unfortunately, things don't progress. And that I see that often, certainly when I'm talking with clients and thinking about, their financial lives, right? Finances can be very daunting for people. We obviously are never really educated about it as we're growing up. So a lot of people are still, even in later in life, trying to figure it out and understand what it means for them. And you hear enough talking heads, and the typical financial advice tells us to kind of be passive because it's just so complicated. Well, that's obviously not true. And listen, I there's certainly things to be learned, and it's not a passive sport. It's an active sport. Anything in our life, we got to kind of be active, right? Whether it's our health, our relationships, we have to do things, and it's just not going to happen behind the scenes. So if it matters to you from a financial perspective and what it can do for you, your family, your legacy, etc., it does require some proactive activity, right? Even if you're trying to generate quote unquote passive income, you've got to be active. And it all starts with just reflecting on what's happening in your life in all the different facets of your world. And this is where I help clients kind of take a look at that just to see what it looks like, right? And sometimes people don't want to look at it. And it's sometimes difficult to face because they know they may not have done everything as well as they want to and don't feel confident with it. Well, one way to build that is to start looking at it and testing it, investigating, researching, and learning more along the way. And people start building that confidence, just like I did in my own sort of journey with personal finances. I didn't know all these things on the onset. It came with time, but you got to start somewhere. And that's where I encourage people to, when you're thinking about your finances, it's not the expectation you're going to learn all these things immediately, but where do you start? Well, you start with uncovering what is happening today, and through the very lens of protections and how you're saving and where you're investing in growing your wealth, and taking a deeper dive to understanding what do you know and understand about it, and where don't you, and be comfortable with that, and getting help to figure out what are some potential other options for you. When I look at finances, there's a lot of folks, based on the typical financial advice, people are losing money in a whole host of ways, and it's exiting their worlds, and other people are using them for their benefit, and makes it puts a lot of extra pressure on our personal finances. So they could be in the range of things like interest and loan, interest to financial institutions. They could be in the form of taxes that are escaping our lives, fees, right? Excess insurance premiums that may or may not be necessary or needed. So these are areas that are needed to be examined to see, are you optimizing and maximizing the efficiency of your dollars, right? Because of each dollar that leaves your world has an added sort of cost to it called an opportunity cost. And that is those dollars stop working for you forever, right? And so the opportunity to earn from those dollars is also gone. And that is a missing piece. It doesn't show up in your bank account immediately. You don't see it leaving, like I have to pay a tax bill, that I have to write a check right for that. That's painful. I can see that. But the bigger piece is that those dollars that are now used for those things are being lost from my world, now enter a world of never earning again. And those are dollars that, compounded over years and decades, can be substantial, especially if you're thinking like I do long term about things. It can last for generations. And so this is where we have to kind of step back and look at some of these things and understand, where could we be losing money? Is there something different or different strategies I can use to potentially recapture some of these losses or reduce them at least? And, we talk a lot around taxes, and we have episodes centered around that. You got to look at that. But the other big area are interest charges to banks or financial institutions, and taking a look at that. How can we manage those dollars and reduce that cost as much as possible? And that's where the foundational piece of what we teach folks who are open-minded about how they can actually control more of the financing arm of their lives through the family banking environment, and understanding how we can control when we finance things, whether we pay cash or we borrow, but to do it strategically, right? And have more of our dollars continue to earn and grow and compound over long periods of time. There's a method to that to help recapture as much interest as we can, and use it for our benefit, and certainly pass more on to the next generation if we decide to. So it's important to think about those very basic things in life, because the typical advice, I truly believe, I think there are certainly well-meaning sort of aspects up to them, and there's things that I certainly abide by and agree with. But there's a reason that the vast majority of people in this country and in the world are not wealthy, right? They might be comfortable, and certainly there's a larger middle class that is unfortunately living paycheck to paycheck, but a lot of wealth is being transferred away from us. And in a lot of cases, we don't even know about it. We're not aware of it until you open your eyes and look at it and take in some of this nourishing, what I can call water or purity, to learn more, right? And be comfortable learning it. Then it can help drown out some of the potential other typical advice that you may have heard that can be controlling in nature, and it's done purposely. They're not bad people by any stretch, but the reality is that it's set up in a way for them to win. And then in this game of finance, we've got to take ownership and responsibility for those things so we can sort of figure out what's best for us, and how do we leverage our resources in a way that optimizes what we get to do it, how much we get to enjoy. You've heard it over and over again. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And then how do you use it in a productive way and reducing risk? Well, that does take ownership. That takes responsibility and learning from you, because if you're going to be in a position of just passively allowing that to happen, the chances are you're going to leave a whole host of money on the table for others to use. So it's just something for you to think about, and certainly reach out if you want help to talk through that and explore, because the people who do that, this is not a passive game. Personal finance is an active sport, and this is where I can help empower people to learn it on their own and figure out what's a good path for them. So I urge you today, whether it's your finances, your health, whatever it is, your mindset, is to start thinking that way. How do I cleanse my mind and body, spirit, my financial life, by taking in good information in the form of advice from others and learning, and then helping to purify some of the things that maybe are not serving you and your family as well as you think they might be. Be open to that and continue to nourish that. And this is a lifelong journey. Hopefully I'm going to need water for the rest of my life, right? So keep on cleansing my body, my mind, and certainly my financial strategies and approaches, so that it can serve me and my family for this generation and beyond as much as possible. So hopefully this was helpful. This is hopefully it didn't feel like a rant. I just really encourage you. It's possible. It's some of these financial concepts are not as intimidating as some may believe, and it's within your power to handle them if you're willing to go on that journey. So take care, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Perennial Pride Podcast.
Thanks for joining me on this episode today. I really am grateful for you as listeners to the Perennial Pride Podcast. I hope you're getting some tremendous value out of it, and hopefully pushing you along your journey to financial freedom. I put this podcast together really to help you get more educated around your finances, so that you feel empowered to live the life that you really want. And if you like the content that you heard today or watched, then I would encourage you to go to my website, perennialpride.com. There's tons of other content there. And you can access my book, Wealth Beyond the Numbers. You can buy it there on my website. It's a aggregation of a lot of great tips and tools I've learned to not only build my wealth in my accounts, but build wealth in my life, and abundance and joy, and something that has a lot of my experiences in the journey that I've been on personally. Hopefully that can be also of value to you as you sort of move forward. So thanks again for being a Perennial Pride listener, and we'll see you on the next episode.